Good morning, everyone. So here we are. Let me make sure everything is working properly. Got new settings. New settings to include a new view, because my camera actually works on my microscope now, thanks to Eric Biter. Thank you, sir. Eric helped me with all of my stuff. Depends on where you are and who. There should be only one pronunciation of a school's name. Here's what I'm dealing with right here. Bunch of really old tape on this. I haven't opened this roll. You can see that the tape just crumbles when you try to peel it off. So be patient with me as I play with this. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is just try to cut through it. See how successful I am at that. Try it out here real quick and see if that works. And if it doesn't work, then we'll move on to something else. It looks like it's going to work. Just to show you guys that I have not been through this roll. There we go. First view, 64, 65 maybe. Grade coins out of here. They look nice. They look nice enough, that's for sure. Well, I hope we get a rare one in here, because we have had trouble with 56D in the past. But here we are with this one. Morning, Adam. Let's see here. We can get moving. Alright. Now, let's see how this looks, because I think it should look pretty good. Yeah, we're doing good here. Okay, this is a minor split lower serif RPM here. This is coin number one. I'm sorry, coin number one goes to Jeff Dunn. Good morning, Joe. Coin number one to Jeff Dunn. Let's take a look and see what it all is on here. I don't know whether or not this is really listable in and of itself, but because it has such nice markers, maybe it could be a listable RPM. Oops. I've got to watch out for that, because I'm using my real microscope. My lamp is not extremely stable, steady. But the view is quite a bit better than what I had before, including the little string sitting on the coin down there. So I'm going to set this off to the side just in case it happens to be something we can actually deal with as far as an RPM is concerned. I'm going to put it off to a special place on the side, because I'll decide with looking at other coins whether or not this one's going to be a keeper. So here's coin number two for Deanne. Another one of the same die. Had that little die chip on the upper inside of the 9 of the date. There's a little die scratch popping up out of the chin there too. So I'm going to use both of those markers to keep a good eye on this particular die. Unintentional rhyme. So I'm sorry I didn't get through with any of the reveals last week. It was a kind of a tough week for me, logistically speaking. I had a lot of things going on, and there's another one of the same die again. Same die all over again. As we'll take a look at the reverse on one of these, just to see. Okay. Not much different from what I would have expected at any point. We've got very late die state, no doubling, as expected on 1956D. That one was for Kelly Michaud. Now coin number four. Coin number four will go to New Marshall in town. Another one of the same. Well, this isn't the same die. There's two different dies that are very similar to one another, because you have this one that has a small break in the upper right corner of the inside of the 9, then the other one has the break goes kind of all the way across the top of the 9, and the clash is not as visible. Could be two different die states of the same die though. because I'm seeing what appears to be the same die scratch popping up out of the chin. We'll keep watching. We'll see. Because this one's very close to the 5, a little bit closer to the 5 than it is to the 9. So we can keep that in mind as well. But looking at those clash marks along with the smaller die chip inside the upper 9, let's keep watching. Okay, so that will be coin number 4 for Marshall. Coin number 5. 5 is going to go to Timothy Morrell. Okay, now this is the same die for sure. This one's got the smaller die break inside the 9. It's got the rather noticeable clash. It's got the die scratch coming up out of the chin headed to the northeast. This one's got some abrasion on it from a counting wheel in a counting machine. But it is one of our very minor split lower serif RPMs. I don't know that these are actually going to be listable because they are very minor. This one's for Sureg. And see, the size of the break in the upper part of the 9 is a little different on this one. The clash is not a noticeable clash, but it does have that die scratch coming out of the chin. I think we have 2 different die states of the same die, which is possible. Die ages as it's being used. That's what makes it age. The more it's used, the more it ages. And given that dies age with use and not time, it's very easily possible that you could have from early die state to late die state inside of a single day's production run. And if those get mixed up in the hoppers, then you end up with 2 different die states of the same die in the rolls. Now see, this one's a different die altogether. This one is also not an RPM. It's all die wear. And this one you've got, looks like fangs coming out of his chin. Got a tiny break on the bottom of the B, or that could be a tiny spot of lamination. Doesn't really matter either way. Let's take a look at the reverse on this one. It's running so far ahead of time now. Nice markers on the reverse, but we don't have anything to use the markers for. Hey Jessica, good morning to you. So this one's going to be a normal coin here. It's number 7, now number 8. Joe McBride. Finally we hit one of somebody who is here this morning. It's a very nice looking coin, and it is one of the 2 split lower serif RPMs. See, when you turn it like this, you can't even see it. And you have to turn it like this to see it. So it's an angle thing. Sorry about that with the light there. My light will bounce and move because it's loosely hanging. Here we go. And so this is one of those dies. There are 2 different dies as it appears. Let's check that chin. See, there's the die scratch out of the chin again. Hello, Brandon. Wow, it's very early in the morning for you, I guess. Well, may or may not be. What is it, like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning? Either way, welcome to the stream. Good morning, Coin Junkie. We're going to be doing broadcasting all day today. I have my VFW meeting this evening. Ooh, yuck. A big old schmear on this one. This is one of the 2 minor RPMs. Minor. There's 2 different minor RPMs here, but I don't think either one of them are going to be listable. Some chance they could be, but I don't think they will. That was from Mike Birchman. So I wish I could get myself straight on that. Number 143, or number 43, I'm sorry, there is no 100. Not yet, anyway. Well, if it's already listed, we'll go ahead and identify them as such. But if it's not already listed, I'm not really sure that I'd be able to do anything with these. This is another one of them, and this one, there's so much dye where you can't really even see the split. In the lower part of the serif, the only way I know that it is the dye chip inside the 9, then we're going to have the dye, there we go, a dye scratch coming up out of the chin. It is the same dye as one of our 2 really minor RPMs, but there's just nothing going on there that really has a whole lot of merit. Sharp eye for coins. These are a nice gem 1956 D Lincoln cents though. These are very nice coins. So that's a good part. Got Bulldog coming up next. And I've been through rolls like this before where something special just hops out at you unexpectedly. Okay, this is a different die. So there's a very minor split at the top. Very minor. Almost not noticeable. Let's check the eye real quick. Nothing in the eye. Yeah, this makes really quick. This microscope with the new software that drives the camera makes very quick work of this project here called Roll Reveals. Get along real fast in this. It does have just a little bit of lag and a little bit of flash issue, but that's because I have the live camera feed at 2456 pixels wide. We're running about 14 frames a second, which is just about half of typical movie mode, which is why you are seeing a little bit of jigger and jog, but not nearly as bad as it used to be. 2 weeks ago. That's correct, Adam. That's correct. 2 weeks ago. So we've got 257, 267, 268, 970, 71, 72, and 73. There's 7 of them. And then starting at 274, 5, 6, 7, and 8 will be tomorrow, and those are from last week. Then we'll be all out of reveals to do. I may do some roll digs after that, because I got plenty of rolls I'd like to go through that I don't necessarily want to go through a huge scheduling thing all about. Okay, this is another one of those. You can see the very minor lower split. Now, I'm not even sure it's really even a split serif. But this whole roll is running ripe with 2 different dies that have chips inside the 9. One of them is in the upper 9, like this, and then the other one is in the upper right 9. Got out yesterday and mowed the yard, and I timed myself at it. It only took me 45 minutes. So it's not that bad. Mowing an acre is an okay thing for me anyway. Here's another one with the die chip in the upper 9, upper right 9. There's your die scratch on the chin. Northeastern run out of the front of the chin toward the rim at 2 o'clock, roughly. Nothing going on here. So unfortunately, it looks like we're going to end up with a roll full of, well, minor RPMs. There's plenty of them. Here's Bill Crusson. Let's see. Another one. Boy, these are just super minor. So we'll see. But we have another one here. And we're running close to halfway finished with the roll. Yeah, Sherman is snoring. I'm sure you can hear it if the microphone's picking it up at all. I'm sure you can hear it. Okay, this is another one. So the general majority of this roll is 2 different dies. Well, if coin number 1 was a doubled eye, then most of the rest of these will turn out to be doubled eyes as well, because we are talking about a die that is very, very prolific inside this roll. Okay, this is another one of them. Not a double die lid. Nothing going on there. Just a wee little tiny minor lower split serif. Very tiny. And this one's for Marshall. Now, most of these coins are in very good condition though. Here's Sureb. Let's see. Another one. This whole roll is coming out to be all except one coin so far. This whole row is coming out to be one of 2 different dies. And that is possible. It is quite possible. If you guys haven't hit that like button, please do so. It really helps me out a lot in new people finding the channel. And as I understand, it's supposed to work, and sometimes doesn't, but if you hit that notification bell, there's a decent chance that you'll be notified when I schedule new streams or upload new videos. That way you can be updated when I update things. Alright, that's coin number 19 now. Coin number 20 goes to Dien. Yeah, this one's been hit on the bottom of the mint mark just a little bit, but this is one of the different dies altogether. It's got a large die scratch running up to the 9. Let's see if this has anything on the eye. Nothing on the eye. Nothing in In God We Trust or Liberty. So this one will turn out to be a normal coin. Now coin number 21. Jeff Dunn. Well, let's go back to Jeff and see. And that is one of them. Let's see. When you get a minor RPM, does that mean when they hit it again, they did a good job in repunching the mint mark? Yes, it means that it's almost exactly aligned to the original mint mark, which is why the doubling barely shows. But yes, the alignment was almost straight on exact from one punch to the next. So they tapped it and tapped it again without letting it move. Oh, Bill. And that is that's your reason for very minor repunchment marks. Now, coin number 23. Kelly Michaud again. This whole roll is turning out to be very minor. Well, pretty much the whole roll. This is another one of them. Very minor split lower serif RPMs that are very difficult to pick out. They all have little die chip inside the 9 of the date. You have a little bit of damage on the 9 right there, pointing right at the small die chip that's on the inside part of the 9. And this is kind of what we're watching for markers, the coins in this particular roll, for pretty much that very reason, because they are all representatives of 2 different dies. Sir Benji. It's going to be one of his first coins. And it is one of our 2 dies. This is the second die, the one with the smaller die chip running all the way across the top of the inside of the 9. Well, this one's got a scratch on the coin. Well, you know this was done at the bank or wherever this was wrapped because, well, this whole roll has been stored for many, many years. And people who joined early in this broadcast saw that I basically pulled off the original plastic for this roll the moment we started the video, and the plastic tape was very, very well stuck. This is die 1 again here. Die 1, die 2, die 1, die 2. That's pretty much what this whole roll has been. One of 2 different dies. That was for Joe McBride. Let's see about this one. That's die number 1 there again. Die number 1 in the roll. And got nothing else there. Ugh. Be well, Jess. Bill Crescent again here. Got a notification on my screen I had to get rid of. This is a die 2. Joe, typically a repunch mint mark is an accident. It's something that they typically tap the back end of the little awl they use with the punch. It's a little punch thing. It looks, wow, man, it looks kind of like a hole punch, like a leather punch. And they typically tap that more than one time to completely sink in the letter, and then sometimes they're not holding on tightly and it bounces. When it bounces, it moves to a slightly different location. When they tap it the second time, you get your repunch mint mark. A lot of times they were able to tap that and tap it into place without moving the punch, but sometimes that punch moved. And only in cases where the punch moved would you see doubling on the mint mark. However, their method for creating the mint mark was about the same every single time. Yes, Bill, you did. You got 3 of them in this one. There's Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall again will get, this is a die number 1. Calling this die number 1 because it was the first minor RPM I pulled out of this roll, and some of them aren't even really showing up with the split and the serif, but that little die chip inside the upper part of the 9 is definitely there. We've also got die scratches going northeast out of the chin. And this whole roll so far, minus 2 coins, has been one of 2 different dies. So set these off over here on the side. Now we're going to go to coin number 30 now. Coin number 30 goes to Yo Man. Yo Man. And okay, this is not one of the RPMs. This is the other die. Only one other die we've been finding in this roll, and it's got a big die scratch popping down from the 9, and this one has it. Slightly spotty coin, very slight. Now coin number 31, Alan Hargraves. And this is going to be a die number 2. Minor RPM. That's coin number 31. Now coin number 32. Mr. Worley. And For Mr. Worley, we have a die number 2. So I'm going to check these carefully after I get finished and figure out whether or not either one of these has already been listed. If it's already been listed, there's no point setting them aside. May as well attribute them and get them new flip inserts, but if it's not already been listed, I really don't want to list something this minor. Okay, this is another one of the not an RPM. So this is our 4th coin that's not an RPM in this roll. This one's going to Joe McBride. Farm Dog now. And Farm Dog gets another not an RPM. And we suddenly run into a streak of these coins that have nothing on them. Not even a minor RPM. Now number 35. Jim Fletcher. What Mr. Jim get? Another one of those. So this is like 4 in a row now. The fangs coming out of the bottom of the chin. Let's see. Okay, nothing there. There's Mr. Fletcher, now 36. Number 36 for Yo Man. And Yo Man gets a die 2. It's a die 2 for the roll. Minor repunchment mark. Now number 37. My Easter bill was a very peaceful weekend. I got a lot accomplished in my home organization. I kind of took the weekend away from coins slightly. I didn't get a whole lot done with coins, but I got plenty done with stuff around the house. Tim Morrell, that keeps the wife happy. Happy enough to allow me to continue working without killing me. There's another die number 2. A few little tiny spots on this one. Just a little tiny bit of carbon. Now coin number 39. Mr. Fletcher again. Joe slept a lot. Die number 1 here. And now coin number 40. Midnight Silver Run. Midnight Silver Run gets die number 2. That's it for that. Coin number 41. Sharp eye for coins. Die number 1. Die number 1, die number 2, die number 1, die number 2. See, this one's also got a big circular die gouge out of the bottom of the L. So we can check that next time I see it. Die number 1, I'll pop it over there and we'll show you that we do have indeed 2 different dies that we're going through in this roll. There's actually 3 or 4 different dies, but the other 2 are not RPMs. Another die number 1. You should have that gouge. There it is. another die number 1. Alright, let me put this one in a holder. Looks like this might be a 30-minute show. When you don't have a lot of different stuff as you're going through a roll, you can make pretty quick work of them. Generally, if I was just sitting in front of the scope going through this roll, I'd be able to finish this one inside of 2.5, 3 minutes. There's a die number 2 there. Die number 2 does not have the big gouge. Die number 2 has all that scratchiness coming out of the back of the head. I also got a pretty decent die scratch between the D and the W of In God We Trust. So that's for Bill Crescent. Now, coin number 44. Yo, man. It's another die number 2, so we should have the die scratch between the D and the W, which we do. Right there. Old die scratch, very worn out. Now, coin number 45. Tim Morrell again. This is die number 1. It'll have the gouge under the L and not the scratch between the D and W. Just like I say. Right there. And now for one die. I'll let you guys pick out which one this is. You'll be able to pick it out for yourselves. As I go around and take a look at the different areas on the coin. Seven short of 20,000 people flew to Hawaii. That's interesting. That's another one of our apparently common dies for this roll. Let's see which one it is. The first one was a die 1 and this one's a die 2. So now coin number 48. I won't tell you what this one is until the end of the broadcast. It's coin number 48. Ooh, it's got a lot of drag stuff on it from having been through a counting machine. Got 2 coins left in the roll. I'll let you know at the end what all 3 of them are. Coin number 49, Midnight Silver Run. This one evidently at one point in time was in a backdoor frapper, and it was the end roll coin. This one's got the circle of death on it, which happens when they tighten the wrappers. And coin number 50, the last one in the roll, Be Our Chef. And there's coin number 50 for you. Okay, coins number 48, 49, and 50. Coin number 48 was die number 2. Coin number 49, not an RPM, die number 3. And coin number 50, die number 2 again. So here's the coins that are repunchment marks, or very, very minor repunchment marks. I think this entire roll is going to end up in your hands as we are looking at it now. And then just a few coins were not RPMs at all. That's all we had that were not RPMs at all. So, pretty productive roll, except that, well, they're very, very minor. So, I don't know, folks. I'll go look around and see what I can find with regard to any cross-reference information for these particular dies. If it exists, I will make sure that these are properly treated as RPMs. If it does not exist, I don't think I want to add more to the already confusing long list of RPMs for 1956 by placing things in there that are sometimes visible and sometimes not. I prefer for RPMs to be something that you are always going to be able to find, regardless of the general condition or die state of the die. The 46S inverted mint mark, I'm not really sure how scarce it is. I know that there have been a couple of dozen found and graded. I know you just opened a roll that had some of them in it. That is going to change the overall knowledge of that particular die. It looks like you've pretty much doubled, at least doubled, the number of uncirculated specimens anyhow known to exist. There are probably thousands of them out there, just no one has actually found a number of them yet. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and take off. I'll be back here at 10 o'clock with reveal number 268. It's going to be a 1957 D roll. Going to take a look at that one, see if we can find any repunch mint marks or those illustrious double die obverses that you generally only find with 1957 D. And then the next hour we'll be doing a 1951 D roll. Then we have 1963 D right after lunch. I believe it's 268 is at 10 o'clock, 269 at 11 o'clock, and then 270 I've scheduled for 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'll see you then, folks. Have a great day. Otherwise, if you don't happen to come back, it's a beautiful sunny bird chirping day out there here in North Carolina. So if you're having nasty weather, come to North Carolina. It's beautiful here. See you guys later.